As a little kid, what kind of, were you like, ever get into any kind of trouble, or what kind of kid were you?
No, I never got into any trouble. I walked a straight line. I had a very straight mom. But I can say that the criminal legal system has been a part of my life since I was 8 years old. Even further back, if you want to go back into my father, but from witnessing a police officer brutally beat my mother at a doctor's office in Pantego, Texas, when I was 8 years old in front of me.
Okay, so what happened? So y'all in the doctor's office, and then what happened when the police was even called?
So it was my mom, me, and my brother was 2 at the time. Not the brother that you know. I got 6 brothers.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We got same daddy, different mama. Okay, but we still blood, so it don't even matter. But so yeah, my I don't know, what was really going on all the way in my mom's brain at the time, her mentality, her mindset. She was a single mother, single black mother, dealing with whatever. We went into the doctor's office. She was waiting to be seen. It was time just kept ticking and ticking and ticking. My brother was running around causing a ruckus. He was like 2, how 2-year-olds do. She got frustrated and she went up to the front and she told the lady, like, I need my medical records. Can you give me copies of my medical records? Because I don't want to, come to this doctor's office anymore, yada, yada, yada. So from that point, she tells me, go put your brother in the car. So I step outside to go put my brother in the car. I only have what she told me what happened, right? And she told me that she was asking this white woman for her records. And the woman said it's 25 cents a copy. She said, well, I don't have 25 cents a copy. Can you bill me? And the woman started getting an attitude, getting irate. And she said, well, if you don't leave, I'm going to call the cops. And so my mom said, well, call the cops. This is, in the 90s. Call the cops. Because obviously they'll be more, understanding than you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm buckling my brother into his car seat, I see a cop pull in, speed up hop up on the curb, jump out like it's robbery or something, So I'm like, what's going on? But you still doing what my mama told me to do, put my brother in his seat, So he runs into the doctor's office, and I don't know, it might have been a minute or 2 minutes after, I see my mom coming out and she pushes the door open. When she pushes the door open, I see the cop behind her. And next thing I know, the cop is snatching her and throwing her on the ground, and then the door closes. So I run into the, mind you, my brother's still in the car, but it's right there in front. I run into the doctor's office, and I see this cop on top of my mama just pounding on her head. So in that moment, I'm screaming, get off my mom, get off my mom, I hate you, get off my mom.
And you're 8 years old.
I'm 8 years old. 8 years old. So after that, they get my mom up. She's handcuffed on a seat. She's bleeding out of her ear, and my mom said she didn't say this, but forgive me, Mom, so I'm gonna be 100% right. She told the cop, like, you lucky I couldn't get your gun, or I would have shot your ass. And I'm like, no, don't say that. But, either way, by that point, she was never violent with him, right? If I'm a child and I'm seeing you, my mom was walking out of the door. She was literally pushing the door open. So what she told me, she said when she was walking out, because the cop told her, ma'am, well, she's not going to give you the medical records, so you might as well, just leave. I can't really do anything about it. So she said she muttered under her breath, unreasonable bitch, under her breath. She's like, I never said it to really, say it to anybody. I was saying it to myself. But it's not against the law to cuss, right? So in what form or fashion did you feel that you had to use physical violence in order to get, she was walking out of the door. You weren't called there because anything criminal was going on.
Right.
And I just remember they took her to jail. They took my brother and I to the station. And I remember the cop was in the back laughing about it. And he had a scratch on his face. He was very pink. That's what I remember. He was really pink and red. And he had one scratch right here, and they were taking pictures. And I remember hearing them joking, saying, why didn't anybody tell us that she had mental illness? Why did anybody say anything about that? and it was a joke to them. So they charged my mom with assault and battery of a peace officer. They call cops peace officers, even though they do nothing.
Nothing about peace.
Nothing about
peaceful. Yeah.
So from that time, my mother she got out.
She went to jail?
She did. It was like, until she bonded out.
Okay.
My stepfather at the time, they were actually going through a divorce, but he came and picked us up. And I don't remember too much about the court proceedings or like what was going on, but she ended up taking a deal for 8 years of probation, which is a long time, long time. But I guess the deal was if you do the 8 years probation, then we'll drop these charges to a misdemeanor, is what, I learned later on. And about, I want to say 6 or 7 years into that probation, she got pregnant with my youngest brother. And she couldn't afford the fees. She couldn't afford the fees. And the judge told her, well, you can afford to have relations, but she was pregnant. And she went to report like she normally do, and she didn't have the money to pay, so they incarcerated her right then. And she had my youngest brother in the Texas Department of Corrections, handcuffed and chained to a bed.
What?
Yeah. So I had actually went to Florida with family. Myself, my other two brothers, we were in Florida. We flew. After she had my brother, we flew to pick him up from Galveston. She was in prison in Galveston. And that was traumatizing. I went and saw my mom. I didn't really get to talk to her. She did a year. She had to finish out the rest of her probation sentence, in prison. And then I remember I was, 15, helping take care of my 2-year-old brother and the newborn baby at that time. So it was a lot,
So you grew up fast in that aspect where you're now a motherly figure versus like a big sister.
Mm-hmm.
God. Yeah. What did they end up charging her with? Do you even know?
Assault battery. So it went from being, what the deal was a misdemeanor, then it went to being a felony. And so for so many years, I ain't gonna tell my age, I'm 37, everybody good. All of these years she's still been battling with that, right? Because that never goes away. It's a violent crime. So trying to find jobs and employment, and they don't want to hire you because you have this violent background. And so it stuck. That deal went out the window. And so once I got caught up in my situation, I always asked her, like, why did you take that deal? Why did you, if you knew you didn't do anything, why did you take that deal? And she said, well, I had a public defender and I didn't feel like I would be represented properly, and they told me that if I didn't take this deal, I would do 10 years. And they threatened to say, well, do you want to spend 10 years away from your kid? And so she said at the time she thought that was the best thing that she had. So during that time, seeing my mama in that circumstance, in that situation, going to see her, that was very traumatizing. And then the letters, I think I maybe talked to her on the phone one time in that time frame. But she would write me all the time. And I don't know, if she should have told me all of the things that she was going through. But I think for her, it was just like, well, I don't have nobody else to talk to tell this to. Mm-hmm. So she would write me all the time and send me, when we were incarcerated, they got people who draw, artists. There's a lot of very intelligent, smart, artistic people out there. And so there was a lot of things that she told me that she was going through. TEC, one of the worst, right? Any TEC prison, one of the worst. It's a state prison. And so from that time, my biggest fear, was going to prison, going to jail. My father had been in and out kind of for various reasons, And so for me, it was like, I got to do everything I can to not ever go to jail, not ever go to prison. So I got to go to college. I got to get educated. I got to get money, the right way. I'm not going to be out here doing nothing. Mm-hmm. Now I don't want to get a ticket. I don't want to do, and everybody is human. That's the one thing, every person on this planet has committed a crime at some point just because of the way that they set these laws up. Yeah. You just haven't been caught. That's the only difference. So that was a huge, huge fear for me. And then when I got to college, my first time ever being arrested, I was in a domestic violence situation. And, it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so I gotta shout that out. I was in college and I was in a relationship with a much older man, and ended up getting arrested with him. And the cop saw, I had bruises, I had burns, my hair was cut off, and the cops didn't help me. and they didn't help me at all, you know. So they asked me if he was my pimp, and I'm like, so when you're trying to criminalize me even more, then and you see that I need assistance, you see that I'm battered and bruised and messed up, and so I've never had trust in the legal system, police, legal system, lawyers, public defenders. Like even with my case, I didn't trust them. I still, even to this day, and I only say this because now the statute of limitation has ran out on my case, but I never was even 100% honest with them because I don't trust y'all. Y'all still get a check from them, so I don't trust it.
Yeah. So I don't want to fast forward. I don't want to speed you up, but I want to go back. So how long? God damn. So I'm just because
I know.
Yes. So because I'm just imagining myself at 8 years old watching the police beat up my mom because she wanted some fucking medical records.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing this is a big dude or I don't even care. It's a man fighting a woman inside of a medical thing. Did they never press your mom never sought any legal for assault or anything on the police department?
You gotta understand, this is at a time when social justice was not a topic. What year was this? Do you think? Like 96, maybe 97.
Okay, so after Rodney King.
Yeah, so Rodney, but people gotta understand, Rodney King happened, but that was a rare incident. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like now. We didn't have cell phones and access to the internet and to post this and hashtag that. We didn't have that. So she was just a black woman. Nobody gave a damn about it. And that was just what it was. So she did the best that she could in that time period, and she, so no, she said she didn't have any support. She didn't know what to do. She did reach out to the NAACP. Nobody got back to her. Nobody wanted to help with the situation. So she just took the plea deal and went on, and she still ended up becoming incarcerated. And it's now, all these years later, that my mother is really dealing with and healing from that trauma. And it's only because I went through it, and I'm not gonna be sorry. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I have to be the voice for her and for all the other women who have been through so much, and they don't get to talk about it. And now, I have a platform, and so that's why I feel like it's my duty to elevate these stories.
Mm-hmm. Was that your mother's first time being incarcerated?
Yeah. I think she probably been in trouble here and there,
mm-hmm.
little minor stuff. Nothing like that, though. No, not certain time like that.
Thank you for tapping in with us. In order to see more clips like this, check out this video here or check out this one here.